What up, one viewer? One whole viewer? Welcome. A few things on the agenda today, or tonight, this evening, this afternoon, this morning, wherever you may be in the world. We're gonna spend some time talking about just like season 4 like wish lists, items to target for each tank. I think we'll go through all 6, at least what I think. And we'll base it off of like sub creation, what like current classes are running. So we'll kind of make a wish list for that. That'll probably be public in Discord. All right, where do I start? I feel like I should be on PTR instead. You're beginning to think enhanced stonks are up? Why is that? These are some old characters, dude. All right, let's log into Bacon Salad and start talking about some of this stuff. Nighttime Shah has vibes, bro. We got lo-fi music. These like, I don't even know what color they are. They're like green, but I don't think they look the same color on the stream. They're like cyan? I don't know. They're cool though, man. All right, this is gonna probably be actually a YouTube video, to be honest. So you guys can say hi to YouTube if you want. All right, boom. Blind you guys. All right, all of you blind. All right, let's talk about this. So season 4 has some new trinkets. I look really red, don't I? I might have to change that. Hold on. Okay, so season 4 has a lot of things that are changing. I went over all the patch notes obviously the other day on stream, and I have my video on YouTube that covers I think most of it. I trimmed it down obviously. There were some big trinket nerfs though, and I kind of want to talk about the trinket nerfs, buffs, and what we're going to be aiming for, because unlike the last 3 seasons where like Guardian Druids and a lot of other tanks were able to like prioritize getting scale and stuff, they nerfed the trinket into the, like they nerfed the absorb by 25%, which is, I doubt you'll run it. Like if you happen to have it still, you'll run it until you can replace it, but you'll replace it with pretty much anything. And like just without like the lack of and woe and stuff is gonna mean that we have longer times between CDs. So we're gonna kind of walk through like a little wish list here in a second, which will be good. And I will put this into a nice little Word document for you guys too. Let's just do, for now, we'll do sticky notes. Wish list priority. Priority? Is that how you spell priority? This is for Guardian Druid, by the way. We just saw an old Warrior Soul nerf, which was, I don't know if a 10% value at a higher MMO is going to be like actually that bad, you know? And like I already said, this will be public. I'll make it public I'll put it into an Excel sheet, make it all fancy and stuff. All right, so from my understanding, all right, so you're going to be able to buy some items that you want as well as get the loot from the raid. So you'll have several chances. So like if you're, let's just, okay, for my guild, for example, I would say for Sanctum of Domination, we'll probably clear like a good bit on Mythic. I'm not sure how we'll do up to, we'll probably get up to Painsmith if anything. My guild, when Sanctum was active, we annihilated Painsmith. We were 9 of 10 with phase 2 prog on Sylvanas. And then we called it for the tier because we got bored. So my guild will probably clear at least 5, the first 5 bosses, which means I'm going to probably have access to having a chance to get a Shard of Anal Hide to drop, which is a really good trinket. I think most Guardian Druids will probably want to target this first. If you're a guild who can kill the 9 on either Heroic or Mythic every week, which is pretty easy, it's the 3rd boss of the, you might want to prioritize other later items on the loot table. There's a lot of things to keep in mind, right? Like it's weird because like how many bosses is your guild gonna kill? Are you doing LFR, normal, heroic, or mythic? And obviously like what you value as a tank. Like for someone who's pushing high keys, this is going to differ from someone who just does 15s, people who are just doing 10s, getting their KSM, whatever it might be. The KSM mount looks sick as fuck. So for those who don't know, this is going to be the KSM mount for this season. It's gold and purple. You better believe I'm gonna be squatting up on this shit whenever I get it. Honestly, if I'm not mistaken, you're only going to be able to ever buy 3 items. You're only ever going to be able to get 3 puzzling cartel diners. You're only going to get 3 food vouchers. All right, so let's talk about Castle Nathria first, because this will be the first raid that we're going to have. The only thing we're going to be able to actually access from here is going to be trinkets, right? We have 6 trinket options. More than likely, you will not be taking Barghast Lease, the music sheet. Heraldry is a fine stat stick, but this isn't something that you'll, okay, you are talking about, Chain. So Stone Legion Heraldry is a fine stat stick, and if a lot of people in your group are running it, it's a flat 123 verse, which if I'm not mistaken should be right around like 2.5%, which is like decent if you're trying to verse stack, and it's increased by 5% for everyone in your party who yields or like wields this. But the problem is I don't think a lot of DPS will actually run heraldry. And then also on top of that, it's a higher item level, so it's going to be at 285, 297 followed by 311. I would say from this raid, there's honestly nothing you're going to want to actually buy, which is fine because I don't think we'll be able to use these vendors the first week anyways. The Splintered Harvalar like isn't bad either if you can get your hands on one, but more than likely with like how tank survivability has progressed over the course of this season, the last couple seasons, we're at the point now where we have enough versatility and like defensives and like obviously tier set double legendaries where you shouldn't have to run a cheat death trinket unless you're pushing like super high end, but I doubt it. And yes, so that's what I was also going to mention. There is a trinket from Sanctum, which is going to be the following week, which will be better. It doesn't, yeah. So this trinket actually does damage to nearby enemies and allies. So if your player's in the wrong spot, you're going to actually hurt them, and you actually might kill them if it crits. Yeah, Area 52, dude. Huge follow. Huge follow. Hopefully you enjoyed the stream. Yeah, and then the time warped fate is better because it doesn't do damage to you. And I think they made it an 8-minute. It used to be a 6-minute CD for the time warp, but it's now 8, but it doesn't do damage, which is fine. So first week, you're actually going to want nothing from this raid when it comes to trinkets, which is good. That makes the wish list kind of easy, right? You're just going to go and do the raid. You can also take the week off if you're just chilling. Sanctum had a cracked fucking loot table, and I think most of the things you're going to want to spend your currency on will probably come from this raid. Now, what's really nice about this raid, though, is most of these items will actually come from the first few bosses. So you're going to be able to actually probably have easy time accessing them if you're just in like a casual guild, or if your guild's not that far progressed. Now, if you're a player who's going to like, I think this works. If I'm not mistaken, you can clear LFR for boss kills. It'll complete your quest, and then you can use that currency. You'll get the diner, you'll get the meal voucher, and you'll take your meal voucher to these boys, and you can cash it in for obviously a higher item level trinket. Now, correct me if I'm wrong on that, but you might be able to do that. But the first thing I would actually buy is a reactive defense matrix. Coming back to this, and like I said, like because of accessibility, it's later in the raid. If you're trying to get a max version of it, the 278, you'll probably need to buy it from a vendor because of Painsmith, simply because of Painsmith. Painsmith is like such a hard wall. Starbucks, America's cult. So first item that I would probably prioritize. Okay, actually, no, that doesn't make sense because all three are going to be available. We're going to put this at number 2, reactive defense matrix. I'll make an Excel sheet for you guys so you guys can actually see this stuff. From this raid, because of how accessible the first couple of trinkets are, Anal Hide and Jotungeir, actually, which is a weapon, we're going to probably focus on trying to get an RDM first. Okay, and then we have our last vendor. So the way that everything's going to work, I just kicked my desk because I'm trying to reposition in my chair. We are going to have to clear, it's 3 weeks of raiding before you can actually buy any of these. If I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, because I more than often am, is that we will have to clear the first 3 weeks of raid. And then once we come back into rotation, that's when we're going to get our first diner, our first meal voucher. And then we will then be able to come to these vendors and buy the loot. The next time we get the quest, we only have to kill 20 bosses. So presumably 2 weeks of raid, and then it'll be 1 week of raid, and then you're gonna have all of your tokens. 3 weeks, correct. Okay, good. I'm not wrong about that. You have to think like out of all 3 of the vendors, which item is going to be the best loot for me. And unfortunately, there's going to be some massive fluctuation with like luck in the vault, what loot drops in your raid, what difficulty of the raid you're clearing, how friendly your raid leader is. We have to keep all of those things in mind. So when it comes to Sepulchre of the first ones, honestly, most of these trinkets are pretty trash. And then there's one really good weapon that has crit heavy verse, which is perfect. And the reason it's perfect is because we're typically hitting our haste cap already. There's a haste benchmark for Guardian Druid around the 24% mark. You can go higher and you can try to push 32 to get another breakpoint, but that breakpoint's really weird. So more than likely, you just need your 24% haste, and then after that, Mastery and Crit are decently equal value. Mastery's a little bit better for magic damage, and Crit's going to be a little bit better for negating physical hits. Now, the profiles of the new dungeons are kind of hard to like say right now. I'll have to run them before I actually look. I could look at logs and stuff and make sure, but typically you're looking at anywhere between a 70 and 85% physical damage profile in a dungeon. And the ones that are leaning towards like 80, 85, you're going to... Oh shit, there goes my headphone. In those dungeons, you can stack more crit. In the ones that are more like 70, similar to like something like Sanguine Depths, that's where you want more versatility. But a crit verse weapon at higher item level than every other weapon in the game is going to be the priority. Plus, this comes from Jailer. And a mythic Jailer weapon is going to be pretty difficult to get for most players, I think. Like if you're in a normal raiding guild, or if you're just planning on pugging the raid, I think mythic Jailer will be hard to get. I know that's a hot take, but... So your very first priority, I think, in the new season, unless you get lucky from your vault and get something massive. Yo, Kawab 90. Were you born in 1990? Or 1890. All right, so we're going to be aiming for Zovastrum first, more than likely. Now, again, this is kind of subjective on making. This is what I will be doing. Now, there is another great weapon, and if you happen to get a Jotungeir, Destiny's Call, from the 9 in Sanctum, this is also a great weapon. Doesn't have secondary stats, but you use this with Incarnation on a 3-minute CD, and it just amps all your stats by like 3 or 5% or whatever it is. And this one's really fun to play with. There will also be a strategy in Mythic Plus where you can use this item, you can use the weapon before the key goes in, and then you can swap back to Jovastrum and do the rest of the key with that. Like you can do a gear swap strat at the start of the key to get this bonus for the first pull, which is always really fun to do if you're a min-maxer like I am. But yeah, so Zovastrum, and then from the vendor, I would say Reactive Defense Matrix. If you buy Zovastrum and then you're like, okay, I didn't get a Reactive Defense Matrix, or I didn't get an Anal Hide from the 9, you will need to probably buy an Anal Hide. I love saying that. I know it's wrong. I know it's going to get me canceled one day, but life's too short not to get canceled. Shard of Anhilds. Now, something that's crazy, some of you might actually disagree with me on. If you are a bear, and let's just say you were able to get a shard from your vault, or you're able to get a high shard from Sanctum, like just killing the 9, and you don't know what to spend it on, and you're not playing an off-spec, you're just a Guardian Druid main, you don't care about Feral, you don't care about Resto, you don't care about the Boomkin buffs. This trinket right here is fucking nuts, my dudes. Cache of Acquired Treasure. And here's why. Here is why it is absolutely insane. I have it on at 278. We're gonna go to Sinfall, and I'm gonna show you guys why this trinket is fucking wild. Are you guys ready for this? Do you guys have your seatbelts buckled? This trinket also works for Brewmaster Monks, and it's actually it was this season better for Brewmaster Monks, and you would see some Guardian Druids run it in like parse keys. So here, I need to do this. I'm gonna log out, and I need to enable details. So this trinket, you pair it with Incarn. So if you run this trinket, you can't run Jotungeir because they share a CD. It shares a CD with trinkets. So 20-second internal cooldown. This trinket, what it does is it rotates a buff every 11 seconds. So you can see right now it's giving me Acquired Sword, which is giving me a haste buff, stacking up to 1 times. I think it goes infinitely high with haste. And right now I have Acquired Axe. So grab an axe from the cache, causing all of your critical hits to apply a bleed that does 1.2k damage over 3 seconds. Now the thing about Guardian Druid is we typically run pretty low crit, but because of Ravenous Frenzy and the conduit that we run with it that buffs the crit, as you thrash and as you like proc your cosmic damage, you're going to constantly apply these bleeds for 25 seconds and have 100% uptime on the bleed on every target, and it's uncapped. It's Endless Thirst. I was like forgetting the name of it. So you have per stack 2%, almost 2% crit. So if we go into bear form, I'm going to show you guys how nutty this trinket is. This detail is active here. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it. We have to wait for this to go to bleed though. So you have a tracker, you have a tracker, and you hit your Incarn when you have this tracker, like when you have the bleed available. And it rotates every 11 seconds. It's kind of weird. We will hit Incarn now, and we'll start thrashing, and then we have the bleed, so we're going to use this trinket. So this is 5 target cleave, by the way. And we're going to go until Incarn fades. So 5 targets, I'm doing 50k DPS. 53k DPS, 55k DPS, 57k DPS, 61k DPS, 68k DPS, guys, 68k DPS, 68k DPS. And this trinket has a 3-minute CD, so like if you're going for Mega Zug, just carry your key, carry your group's key, this is a really fun trinket to run. I wouldn't buy it unless I already had Shard and like a Zovastrum. So it's going to be maybe your 3rd priority. So we'll come back to our sticky note, and I will put this as 4. Yeah, dude, okay. I did a hauls last night. I did like a hauls 16 with like some guildies. We were just like filling up our vault. I was running with a Shadow Priest, and a Shadow Priest who I would consider is pretty decent at Shadow Priest. He's like a Shadow Priest 1 trick. He's been playing Shadow Priest for years. He does pretty good in keys. 3300 disc, or Holy and Shadow Priest player, right? His overall DPS in the Hall 16 was like 16.5k, 17k. My overall as Guardian Druid running this trinket was 19.5k or 19.3 or something like that. Like I was over 19k overall in a Halls 16. So this would be Cache of Acquired Acquired treasure. I can't spell. All right, so if you're running a full defensive build, you're gonna want probably a shard, and you're probably gonna want a reactive defense matrix. You can arguably run a codex of first technique, which is this bad boy here. It's very similar to codex, but instead of giving you agility, it gives you stamina, which is fine for Guardian Druid. There's some unique health modifier scalings with like frenzied regen will do more. And having sometimes a bigger health pool is just like nice, but agility is typically king in this case. So reactive defense matrix, if you don't have a codex, you can also run codex in replace of reactive defense matrix. Therefore, you can buy a cache of acquired treasures. So this is probably going to be what we're going to look for off of the vendor in season 4. Any any questions? Any bear mains in chat? I don't even know. I might be just like talking about random bear stuff and none of you play bear. I kind of want to log over to live and see. Mechagon staff when? No. Probably never. Probably never, Deco. The staff would have to be significantly buffed to make sense, right? All right, so we're back on live. I think my details meter is still up. I just honestly want to show off the trinket. I don't really care about anything else. All right, we're gonna do Brewmaster Monk next though, because Brewmaster is like going to be interesting, like super interesting. Halls of Atonement overall, 19.3k DPS in a Halls. And look at how much this trinket did, right? So what the trinket's essentially doing, this cache, is doubling your tier set. Whatever your tier set damage is in the key, just double it, add a second version of it, and that's what the Vicious Wound does. And now that we no longer have interrupting our CDs, yeah, we don't have Incarn as much, but holy shit, man. I'll be honest, when I run keys with this trinket, I hold Incarn. Even if I get if anything, I try to kill Vi. I try to kill Vi, so if I have Vi with this trinket with Incarn, it's just even better. It's super nuts. Wishlist priority. Yo, what's up, Cold Master? Are you a master of the cold? I know that was mega cringe, but here we are. Welcome to my channel. Created this nickname when I was 15. Yeah, dude. I remember no, I don't judge, man. For the longest time, like a lot of my names in game was like, it was Thunderstruck 66. And that was my RuneScape name. My old school RuneScape name was Thunderstruck 66. Yes, so Bear, very straightforward. One wildcard option, and honestly, like, you could probably get away with not running Reactive Defense Matrix, but again, you want to prioritize getting loots that you're not going to have access to easily. Jovastrum is a great example, because it's loot off of the Jailer. So any loot off of like the last couple bosses of the raid might be a little bit more difficult to do. Now, if you're a Pug God, if you have a guild that you're clearing with, that's totally fine. Oh, you know what? That's what I forgot to add. So wildcard, we're gonna do 5 for Guardian Druid, Jotungeir. That's probably not how you say it at all, but I fucking love saying it. Destiny's Call. Such a badass fucking weapon, bro. Can I actually use my keyboard? Sick. All right, this is our wish list. Let's go through it really quick. All right, so for Guardian Druid, you're gonna want to target Zovastrom the Unmaking from Sepulchre, followed by Shard of Van Hild, and then Reactive Defense Matrix, I think, personally. You could probably also try to get a cache of acquired treasures plus Jotungeirs if you have some wild cards, or if you happen to kill the bosses and loot the weapons or trinkets. Wow, that was a long little bit of talking.